Hey guys, welcome to Off the Reservation, a podcast where we let you know the only way to win the game is to not play. And you all lost the game. I'm Mal.
I'm El.
And I'm the son of Picasso.
So how are you all doing? I think I wanted to start off this episode where we wanted to acknowledge the fact that our podcast has been listened to in other countries.
Across the waters.
Across the waters. And it's really exciting for us because, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I never expected us to get out of the United States.
Hey, that's what we do. We're off the reservation.
Ooh, tying that back.
Off the reservation. But yeah, we just kind of wanted to give a shout out to those of you who've been listening across the water from us. We got a couple people listen to us in India, Sweden, Germany, and the Netherlands.
Ooh, nice.
Specifically in South Holland in the Netherlands. So,
you South Hollands, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Man, I can't wait till we're big in Europe.
I want to get the Hasselhoff status, you know?
Hasselhoff. like muscular like Hasselhoff, running on the beach.
No, he's got a big following out in Germany, man.
I want to be big like Hasselhoff. Just physically.
Just all around.
Muscular. I want to... The Hoff, man.
That guy brought down the wall, man. Single-handedly.
We owe it to David.
You know, before that, he was Knight Rider. In one sense, you guys are busting him up. I'm like, all right, it's okay. But Knight Rider was a significant part of my childhood. So,
I mean, I feel like that's the epitome of that time's ideal of the man. He talks to his car. He spends all his time with his car.
Yeah. Something wrong with that picture, I guess, huh?
Hey, you guys knocking this all right.
No, Mr. Hasselhoff, our hats are off to you. But also, just some of the other things was that we've been mostly listened to on iPhones.
Oh,
and
thank you all, you Apple owners out there. Well, I just found out that we are on Apple Podcasts.
Oh yeah,
so that was cool.
Yeah,
we're on all platforms mostly, right?
Most of them, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts,
Spotify, Anchor.
Yeah, so
y'all can find us anywhere. Or even on YouTube.
We're trying to be available.
Yeah. Accessible, you know.
Accessible.
Just trying to get that message out there to the masses.
Well, the thing that kind of got to me is the fact that our Android users, there's only 18%. So
no.
Come on, guys.
Come on, Android users.
Come on, you guys got to do it.
Got to represent for Android.
Yeah.
And then another interesting thing, 70% of our audience is women.
Nice.
So, thank you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you, ladies.
I'm married.
Ladies out there.
We're all married, so.
Yeah. If that's why you're listening, then sorry.
And I feel like, some of those ladies are aunties. So, hi, auntie.
Yeah.
Aunties.
They're all aunties.
There's someone's aunt.
There's somebody's auntie.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody. This is episode 6, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Our 6th episode.
It's our first 6th episode.
I feel you only have one first 6th episode. It's special.
Very special. But yeah, so I guess one of the things, we'll get right into it. One of our the questions we're going to cover today. And if you guys want to interact with us, you can send us your answer to these questions as well over at Off the Reservation Pod on Instagram.
Yeah, reach out to us. We'd love to hear what you guys think.
And definitely, if you send it over, we will definitely take a look at it. And we may even feature it in a future episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the question we have today is... which one would you guys do? The red pill or the blue pill?
Red pill.
Red pill or the blue pill?
Wait, is this political affiliation?
No. This is in reference to The Matrix, the movie.
Yes, of course.
Here we have on Wikipedia the term red pill and blue pill is referring to, let's see, The red pill is potentially unsettling or life-changing truth by taking the red pill, or remaining in content ignorance by taking the blue pill. And so I don't know about you guys, but like this is after The Matrix came out, like I started like questioning this, like which one would I take? And I don't know. I feel like when I was younger, like I definitely would have taken the red pill, but now that I'm like where I am, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe the blue pill is the way to go.
You're like, I've already lived so much, and I'm kind of okay with how things are for myself.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's go through the pros and cons, I guess. Right. So you got the red pill, right? You said that's to figure out potentially unsettling,
Life-changing truth.
yeah. You know, and if there's one thing that we as humans are always doing, it's running from truth. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
In one way or another, everybody's like, I don't want to deal with that. You know?
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It takes what? It takes some guts to be able to say like, yeah, I'm gonna go for that.
I'm gonna go for it.
I'm gonna deal with that. Shoot, man, red pill or blue pill is just like taking the steps to go to therapy and dealing with your childhood trauma and acknowledging it. You know, like that's essentially what that is. It's, do I want to know what the problem is, or am I okay just forgetting that whole whatever happened when I was a kid and just living? You know, it's like, yeah,
It's like the difference between like finding out like, oh yeah, everyone had to wear shoes in the house, and other people
First
being
step's
like,
always the hardest.
but like other people being like, oh yeah, well we weren't allowed to walk in our house, we had to hover everywhere, and you're like, that's not okay.
Do you guys remember in Community, there's that episode where Donald Glover's character turns 21, and he eventually finds out that he's actually 22. And he's like, no, but it's okay because everybody repeats fourth grade for a second time because it's hard for everyone. No, Mom. He like realizes that because he repeated fourth grade, that he for some reason he always thought that he was like a year younger. They're like, no, man, you've been 21 for a year. He's like, oh, and he realized that his mom lied to him to make him feel better, you know. Because
That's
second
right.
grade or fourth grade is hard for everybody. Mom.
Well, that's the thing. Would you, son of Picasso, would you accept the truth, or would you take the blue pill?
That's a hard one there. You know, I can see both sides of the coin, but I think ultimately I would feel bad for the people that are still plugged in, and I would have no choice but to take the red pill, try to liberate those people still sleeping, you know?
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, like you think about it, there's plenty of people who are happy within their ignorance, who still, because if you think about it, like you've built this life, whether like what is true life, what is real life, if you're stuck in this simulated program that's pretending to be life, and you've lived, I don't know, 30 years building this imaginary life, having children, having a wife, having all these things, would you therefore be willing to give it up, or would you rather thrust yourself out into what would be considered the real world and therefore have to develop a whole new life?
I don't know. I guess it would depend on how dope my life was. Like if my life was crap, I'd be like, oh, let's do it. But I don't know. I guess if my life was like amazing and rich and stuff, you'd be like, oh, just leave me plugged in.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like the thing, right? It's kind of like, I don't know. See, this kind of goes back to this idea of like, well, like someone's reality may not be your reality. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, like some people might be having an amazing life, and they're like, you know what? I'm enjoying this, and I'm okay. You know, like,
yeah.
And it's kind of like, you know, I guess it's everybody's personal decision. You know what I mean? And that's why I said, like, it comes back to being like, man, are you brave enough to, like, yeah, maybe you have good things happening, and you're like, no, I'm gonna unplug it all and get, you know, walk away from that, and basically you're going down a hard path. You know what I mean? To be like, yeah, I'm gonna potentially lose all that, and that's fine. You know, it's a risk.
It is interesting because in a real in a real world sense, I kind of deal with that on a daily basis because, I mean, here I am and I rely, I'm a painter, I'm an artist. And so I rely on fans to support what I do. At the same time, I also am Native and I make political cartoons that talk about the plight of Natives, and it's like there's a fine line of turning people off and turning off, customers versus, keeping it real. And eventually I just had to look at it and say, my people need me. My people need a voice. And if those people can't accept this, then, it's okay. I don't need their money. Mm-hmm. And so, I guess that's a real world sense of taking the red pill or blue pill. And I think that's probably the problem is a lot of people that are in positions of affecting, or I guess influencing, like those types of things, they play it safe. They don't stand in the gap for the people that have no voice,
Yeah, that's true. Like you recognize that like influencers and, they're in a sense kind of owned by the they're trapped by these companies that are basically supporting them, and it's like,
and I think that's where it comes down to. So some of us are built to be yes men. Some of us are built to take orders and to be a cog in the wheel. And I wasn't meant to be that, and so the fact that I'm an artist, I love the fact that I'm my own ship's captain, so to say. At the same time, I only have myself to blame if things go completely awry. So, but it is a fine line to walk because you want to be real to your people. And at the same time, you don't want to be so radical that sometimes you turn people off to the message itself,
Yeah.
And I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten more comfortable into just giving it to people. I call it, sometimes you have to spoon feed art to people, and sometimes you can just give it to them straight in the vein. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think when I was younger, I had to spoon feed a lot of people the message of Native liberation. And as I've gotten older, I've been able just to put it there in your face with my work. And so, I mean, that's I guess a real world application of red and blue pills.
It's very, I don't know. I don't know if it's really a question you can answer. You know what I mean? Like, it's so, like you said, there's so many like things you got to think about, and at some point, or in some way or another, I think everybody is like, dancing that line, you know what I mean? With, with certain, whatever it is in their life, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, am I, and even, so this could even go back to people that are like, maybe I'm not comfortable around other people, but it's because I'm afraid I'm going to like turn people off, you know what I mean? Cause I'm like so eccentric or whatever, And so like, people like subdue their personality back, because they don't want to like throw people off, but it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, do I go out there and take the red pill and be like myself and feel comfortable with myself and potentially like turn people off, and turn people away? Or, do I take the blue pill and just, like you said, kind of be a yes man and I don't know, just be an agreeable person, I think it's, I don't know.
Well, I think personally, like part of one of the things that really interested me in this whole question of like red pill, blue pill was the question of what is real, what is the reality. And I remember, one things that I remember most is like growing up and going through high school and everything. Everyone always says it's the time in which you determine who you want to be when you grow up. And going through that whole process, like I had experimented with like different things and became aware of what anxieties, what fears, and what kind of feelings I had towards like who I wanted to be. And so like growing up, I wanted to be the person that was able to fit into any group and do all those things. And I eventually ended up just realizing that the only person that it really matters to is to you. who do you want to be versus who everyone sees you as. And as you get older, I mean, this is now where I'm stuck as. But ultimately, I think we always look up to those people who, in essence, take the red pill and go out on a limb and become who they want to be. Like, what was it? Dave Bautista. I don't know if you know much about him or his career, but he plays Drax.
Oh yeah, Drax the Destroyer.
Drax the Destroyer, and he had talked about how he got his start in
Wrestling.
Yeah, in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And how he felt
WWE.
Yeah, it was something to do with him feeling like he was in competition with like John Cena. And how John Cena ended up going out and ended up starting an acting career, and and Dave Bautista was like, man, I wish, why can't I do that? And eventually he just was like, I need to do it, and ended up doing it. And in a way, he took the red pill. He realized the reality was whatever he wanted it to make it. And therefore he became Drax. And I don't know. I mean, like, I think he's been successful since then with his acting career and how it's expanded.
Well, and then like a lot of it is really it kind of the red pill, blue pill. Like, while yes, there's more intricacies to it, it kind of essentially boils down to just like, are you willing to take the risk? And are you going to risk it to get the biscuit? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
it's like, yeah, like you said, like putting yourself out there, and for you, like, how far can I push it? As far as like getting my message out there. And then even with Dave Bautista, you know what I mean? He was like, I want to try, but like, there's so many people out there that are like, I want to do this, or I want to try this, or I want to be this, but they're too scared or insecure about what everybody else is going to think, or how it's going to be received, or any of that, that like, you don't do it. You don't take the chance. You know what I mean? You don't decide, oh, I want to go move to a new city and try something I've never done before. You know what I mean? Like, people don't. A lot of us don't, because it's easier to be like safe. You know what I mean? Like, you're in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I don't want to rock the boat. I'm just going to leave it,
Yeah. And when I was growing up, I had a lot of people try to dissuade me from being an artist, tell me, oh, you need to get a career, you need to do something that gets a pension, you need to do some sort of job with the city. And, I look at those people now and I'm like, whoa, you are a yes man. You are a cog in the wheel, and you are what's wrong with the system, so to say. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, if I would have done that, and if I would have listened to you, then the whole world would have lost out on my message. You know what I mean? And that itself was like,
I don't know. I mean, honestly, like, I disagree with you on the idea that being a yes man is a bad idea or a bad thing, because in this world, no matter what, there's going to be a yes man, whether it's somebody who follows along with your belief and they're just saying, yes, this is correct, this is how it is. I don't know.
See, I guess, I mean, I could see your point, but in my world, I am the boss. In my world,
Who's the boss?
I
am the boss.
I am ultimately the creator of what I make. And I am my own financial backer. And it was at a certain point where I realized, I was like, wow, I am the boss. I don't have to take your crap. I hate the way you run your company. You ran your company into the dirt, and I've made you all kinds of money. Now I'm running things, and it is liberating in a sense, because I've learned from all these other people who have done horrible at their job, You
essentially went, look at me. I am the captain.
And so
I am the captain now.
And so now it's like, I truly can say whatever I want. And it's a good thing that I'm a good person, because if not, then we would be in big trouble. You know what I mean?
We might not have started this podcast.
Yeah. So,
well, so I'm kind of, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. I think a lot of it kind of comes down to like, okay, what's good for one person may not be good for me. And while you say like, you're a cog in the system, like, I acknowledge that, like, there's times where I am, you know what I mean? And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think it took me a long time to figure out for myself, like, to realize that, like, everybody needs to figure out what's important to them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If, you know, having a message and getting your message out there and being your own boss is what's important to you, then, like, you can make that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you're okay with, like, working a 9 to 5 and, you know, because you want to have the security, I guess, of, you know, working for a company that can pay, you know, insurance and all of just all the other stuff. And, you know, and you're okay with that because what's important to you is spending time with your family and maybe, you know, just having a regular steady paycheck and not having to worry about it. Like, then that works for that person, you know. But like you said, it's different for everybody, you know. And I think one thing that's missing for a lot of people is not recognizing that what you're trying to achieve, it may not be this. It's not going to be the same as everybody else,
Yeah.
and that's okay. Like, be okay with that. You're not gonna. We may not be millionaires. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, that's okay. Like, we have family, we have friends, we have a place to sleep. You know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
have things that, like, I think we just can be really thankful for, you know, and like, it's possible, like, it's possible to make those for ourselves. And that's, you know, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, see, and I see what you're saying because I didn't get to just where I am overnight to speak about Native rights. And
Right,
to be so bluntly, right? I had to have a 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's for everybody.
And to be in this position now, it's like, am I just going to sit here with my mouth shut now? Or am I going to use this freedom and this platform to scream as loud as I can for Native rights, you know?
Well, it's like, yeah, you've worked just like everybody else is going to have to work for whatever it is that they want. You had to work for to get to that point, you know? And I think that's just something that's, like, I don't know. I think that's something doesn't get taught to us as kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of, like you said, it's told, like, okay, well, you have to go to school, you have to get a job that's going to pay this. You have to. You have to. It's not like you have a choice. You know what I mean?
Well,
and so when you grow up and you say, like, I'm going to become an artist, you know, and people are like, oh, you know, like, that's not going to work.
that's not gonna work.
It's like, well, how am I supposed to, like, you know, how am I as a young adult going to feel, you know what I mean? That, like, okay, I only have one track now, and that's what I'm gonna, you know. And that's where you get that feeling of, like, ugh, man, I'm just a brick in the wall, you know. And it's like, my life doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, people, like, you know, we gotta, like, encourage our kids, you know what I mean, to express themselves and figure out what it is they want to do.
Oh yeah.
Well, honestly, I think the thing that's been interesting is looking back at it. I feel like for our grandparents' generation, they didn't have the access or the freedom to be able to, the freedom to even ask this question of, like, what do I want to be? It was more of,
That's
like,
true.
You need to get married, you need to get a job, and you need to provide for your family and provide for your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, and things like that, because it was a state of survival that entire time.
Yeah, they didn't have the opportunities that we're afforded today. Yeah.
And therefore nowadays we are able to have the free time. I mean, like,
And
we're sitting here recording
I think that's
a
why so many of them
podcast.
joined the military. You know, you look at our grandparents' age, and that's why most of them joined the military, because it was something that they could do as a career. You know?
Yeah. Or even it was just something they could do.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities for them. And I get that. So, like, I also think, like, you know, we have to, I don't know, have a little grace, you know what I mean, when it comes to, like, the past generations. And, like you said, like, the way that, like, they talk to us sometimes, you know, and it's like they didn't know another way, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, I don't blame my parents or anybody, you know what I mean, for making me feel a certain way. But I am really thankful that, like, I'm beginning to kind of see a bigger picture here. You know?
I mean, it's like grandpa didn't teach our parents how to speak Navajo because he believed that the future of this country
wasn't going to be needed. Yeah.
wasn't going to need Navajo in our language. But nowadays, like if I want to do an audition for a movie, the first thing they want is they want me to say the lines in English and then translate it into Navajo and say it in Navajo. And I'm like, man, how great would it have been to be able to be like, oh yeah, I'm bilingual like that. That is an extra skill that you have in your arsenal to be able to reach to that point. And I mean, along the same lines, so looking back, like I feel like the ability to look back and go, man, I should have taken that red pill is a special thing that we can do in our lifetime. Because I mean, I remember there's a few times where I've had opportunities to like go places and do things, but because of my perceived reality, I didn't. Like, so one story is like one of my agent had contacted me, and we were talking, and pretty much I found out that she had a contact with The Walking Dead casting.
Oh, man.
And I was super excited. I was like, man, I could be on The Walking Dead, like even to get in on a season or just a couple episodes. And she was like, well, if you're serious about doing this, then you need to go ahead and be ready to relocate yourself to Georgia, and you're gonna have to live there for a few months during shooting. And during that time, I had a girlfriend, and our relationship was tumultuous, and and the whole idea of like also moving away from my parents and having to leave them here, it was kind of like a lot to have to take on. But if I had, now that I look back at it, I'm like, man, if I had even like gotten involved, I could have expanded my ability to like made some connections, done some other things, eventually been able to take care of more people. But I didn't, because I had a girlfriend and I didn't want to leave home.
Well, there's always, you can make a million excuses, for reasons why we don't do things. All of us, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like you said, like hindsight's 20/20. Like,
see,
I should have took
all
that
these
20
instances
cents.
shape you as a person.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So like the next time you have something like that, look at both sides of the coin. You're like, wow, I do have regret about this, but in the same sense, there's this, and they all just shape you and mold you.
And now you have that experience. You can even pass that along to somebody else, somebody else that like, maybe they could be in a similar situation, and you think
listener,
like,
if you're in this situation, remember, years from now, you'll look back at it and maybe you'll have wished you had made a different choice.
Yeah. Well, just,
boyfriends come and go, but legends never die.
Follow your heart, kid. You'll never go wrong.
All right. Well, all right. Hey, let's take a quick break, and then we'll be right back after some of these
short messages.
Short messages, yeah.
Very short messages.
All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, guys. It's Elle. Just wanted to say thanks for listening. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, you can always DM us on Instagram at Off the Reservation Podcast. And maybe, just maybe, we'll answer it in a future episode. Now, on with the show.
Hey guys, thanks for listening in with us, and we're back from our break. So I think we're going to go ahead and go into another question. And if you guys also want to get in on this question, you can definitely contact us, DM us at Off the Reservation Podcast. But yeah, the question that we have now is, if you could have any superpowers, what superpowers would you choose?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I mean, personally,
what would you choose?
Personally, I've always, like growing up in like the age of like awesome superheroes and everything, like I always liked Spider-Man, but for a really long time, I really liked Nightcrawler and his ability to teleport.
Oh yeah, teleportation.
Like, how cool would it be to be like in your bed, like at night, like, man, I would really want a soda, and then teleport over to the refrigerator, open it, grab a soda, teleport back to bed. Like, I don't know. That was one of the things I always wish I could do. Also, use the Force.
Ooh, that's a good one. I would use the Force.
The Force is strong with this one.
Is the Force technically like a telekinetic? Like,
yeah.
The
like
Force is all around us.
Okay, well, I guess that would be a question. Do you
like an upside? There's you got the upside. I got the downside. There's good shorts. There's bad shorts.
Would you consider the Force as a superpower?
I guess. Yeah, I would. I would consider it a superpower.
I mean, do you want to consider it a superpower so you can choose it as a superpower?
I don't think that would be my superpower of choice. But I guess for argument's sake, I guess you'd have to consider the Force a superpower.
Because essentially it comes down to being telekinetic and...
Wait, so are the Jedis just the mutants of the galaxy far, far away?
No, see, they're the ones who can tap into the Force.
But they're like equivalent to like the mutants that we have here, right? Like Professor Xavier, right?
Yeah, because it is genetic. I mean, they look for
Yeah.
the midichlorians inside your bloodstream. So therefore, yes.
You have to be chosen. You have to have a specific. I don't know. They kind of like went away from that, right? In that second one in this last trilogy, The Last Jedi. Is that what it's called?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Remember, there was like, they were basically the message was like, if you believe hard enough and you want to be a Jedi, you can. Because there was like a little kid that was like, oh, I really want to be a Jedi, you know, and then he like moved the broom.
I thought he already had the ability to tap into the Force, and I thought that was the whole thing, right?
Well, I thought the whole message was that like, you know, anybody can be special.
See, that's what happens when Disney took over.
Yeah.
They made it so everyone could have the Force.
Well, the message just wasn't very clear.
Yeah.
At any rate, yes, I think we can we'll categorize Force.
The Force.
The Force and
as a
Force
superpower?
users as a superpowers. Yeah.
Have you ever seen Clerks 2, where he talks about like the Force and like just talks about like Transformers and just like this uber nerdy way? It's just kind of funny.
Yeah. We're like a few seconds away from getting to that. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I think we kind of went through that a little bit.
Yeah.
I think honestly, there's just so many. But if I had one, it would probably be, I don't know. A flight would be kind of cool.
Okay.
Just because airfare is so expensive these days. Like, if I got to go across the country, you know?
See, then you'd have all your friends saying, "Hey, Elliot, fly me to Hawaii."
Yeah, right.
So I mean, okay. So for argument's sake, let's say you could have 3. So like airfare, like flying. Would you have wings, or would it be just like Superman, and you'd be able to throw yourself out a window?
Just like Superman. I don't need wings.
You wouldn't have like eagle wings.
Eagle wings.
But think like you could take your eagle wing and like throw it up in front of people's faces and be like, "Nah, I don't want to talk to you no more." Or it'd be like they'd sneeze and you'd just be like, "Whoosh,
yeah,
get out
but
of my
think
way."
about sitting in a chair, like, or going to the bathroom. Like, that's like you can't.
You
I
can't
don't
be
want
comfortable
wings.
in a stall.
Yeah, I can't live in a house with wings. I have to go make a nest somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. It doesn't work. No wings.
No wings.
We're going Superman, levitating, like flying around. Yeah.
So that wouldn't be flying. That would be levitation.
No, it would be flying. However, the physics works out for that. I don't know.
I heard that.
No wings. No wings. That's all I'm saying.
No wings.
No wings. What is it? Archangel?
Archangel had
Yeah.
wings. Yeah. The Hawk.
Yeah.
Hawk from the
Harvey Birdman?
Pigeon Man from Hey Arnold.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Pigeon Man.
Oh, my
Pigeon Man
gosh.
from Hey Arnold.
No, if I had a superpower, I would really prefer not to have one that leaves me deformed, and like having like extra extremities, like wings or something like that. Like, that would be, then you got, everywhere you go, you got to like explain, yeah, you know, this happened.
It's my superpower.
It's a superpower. And
It's a little cumbersome.
I can fly and make wind with my wings. You know,
I think we can all make wind.
with my wings. Oh man, no, but like, yeah, I think.
Would you be like colored, like a different color, like if that was your if that was your superpower, like you know how like Nightcrawler was like blue?
Oh yeah, it was like,
or like
blue.
Ooh. I don't know. I don't remember like the full backstory on Nightcrawler. I thought he was like the son of Mystique.
I have no clue.
In one iteration, he might have been the son of Mystique. But I don't know. I think I'd like to be blue.
Blue.
I'd be blue, and have like dark blue hair. That'd be kind of cool.
Like all
Although,
blue?
but he also had like 3 fingers, like 2 fingers and 1 thumb, and I don't know if I could handle just having like.
He also had a tail, so.
And I'm totally down with a tail. I'd totally have a tail. Like, imagine all the cool
Man.
things you could do with a tail. Pants would be weird, but I mean, a tail.
You'd have incredibly good balance.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Yeah, so I'm totally down for Nightcrawler-esque.
So
Although I'd like.
You're locked in. This is your final answer.
Oh man.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah, because
Blue tail teleporting.
Because at the same time, if I wanted to fly, what I could do is I could teleport myself like really high into the air and like fall Buzz Lightyear style with style down towards the ground. Like I could have one of those windsuits. Just like teleport myself up to the top of the mountain and jump off. I think that'd be cool.
That's pretty good.
Teleportation.
Like, do you remember that movie Jumper?
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember? We actually went to go see that together in
We saw
Arizona.
it for the Herd show.
Yeah. we like walked over or skated
So
over.
let me get this right. I'm busy working, and you guys go see a movie.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we didn't have a booth.
I mean, I was working. I just wasn't working.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like when I was around, there wasn't a whole lot of work that got done because I wasn't in the business. I was just there to have fun.
You were manual labor. I think that was the thing is like both of us were young and we were more manual labor.
Yeah.
So our superpower during that time was strength.
We're like roadies, Yeah, we come in, we help set up, and then you guys do the show. Hey, have a good show. We'll be back later.
Yeah.
We come in and help tear it
feed
down.
you guys and then send you on your way.
That's kind of been like my gig for like anytime anybody needs help, it's always like, yeah, help me come set up and then leave and then help them come break it down or
Like movers.
or yeah, like even helping people move into their house.
Yeah.
See, that would be a business right there. You should put a business card together,
They do
get a
have
hold
that.
of all these native artists and be like, I'll set you up, I'll break you down. You don't have to do anything. We'll get you loaded up and on your way.
You hire me and my boys and we'll give you a discount.
If we break anything, that's on you. But
Show us your CIB and you get a special indigenous discount.
Oh, just like on a side note, the indigenous discount I believe is a real thing.
it is.
Where? Just in general?
It's like one of those off the menu things.
Yeah. Like you gotta like go into In-N-Out. You gotta say the right thing.
Be like, hey, do I get an indigenous discount?
Yeah, use the right words.
I think it's one of those things that's implied. If you're
That-
indigenous and you're doing business with other indigenous people, there should be like an implied
Discount.
yes.
I think that would be my superpower as it is now. Being native.
We have superpowers.
We have the superpower. It's the indigenous discount. Mostly when dealing with other indigenous artists. That's kind of how that goes.
Yeah. It's one of the perks of being an artist.
Wait, so what's your superpower? What superpower? Superpower would you choose?
I would be the beast. Like I would like rip your arms off and then like be shouting equals MC square and like doing like quantum physics while like going ape shit.
chilling on the ceiling.
Yeah.
hang it upside down.
Yeah.
You'd be hairy though. Would you be hairy?
Yeah.
I could deal with a little hair
could
for a
do a
lot of
little hair.
strength.
He had
What?
like super
See,
dexterity.
I guess it depends on which beast we're talking about. Are we talking about the X-Men comic beast where he just is blue, or like the CGI version where he's like furry, like, furry?
I thought Beast was not a furry.
I think he's always been
Furry.
hairy.
Has he always been hairy?
Yeah, and played by Kelsey Grammer.
Yes.
No, but even in the movies, he was still hairy. He just wore suits
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
because
Okay.
he was like a congressman.
He's a real hairy dude.
Kelsey Grammer?
I've never seen that much of Kelsey Grammer. I don't know if Kelsey Grammer was
Oh,
that
you haven't
hairy.
seen season 2 of Frasier then.
Little ham and eggs action coming at you.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so
So you'd have all the powers of Beast, including the intellect and the dexterity and the strength and everything.
Yeah. I think that's a good mix.
all right,
but, like,
well,
And that's the end of the podcast.
all right, well, we got the answers there, I guess. You heard it here.
We got to the bottom of that.
Everybody gets one.
Well, no, the three. So
Oh,
like
three, yeah.
teleportation. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
tell them, Mal. Everybody gets 3.
you get three. You get three.
I guess everybody gets 3.
Like 3 wishes,
3 wishes.
3 upset bat.
And if the first two don't count, if you don't want them to.
Okay, so I would be like have the beast powers. I think I would fly. I'd be a flying beast. And then give me some like Wolverine claws, just be all around freak.
So if you got the Wolverine claws, would you have the ability to heal?
I think that's his power, right?
That is the power.
And then they were like, oh, hey, this guy can't die. Let's put some metal in him.
It depends on which universe you're talking about, because I mean he has the bone claws to begin with, and then
Oh, yeah, that's
he got
true.
the adamantium
Oh, that's right, yeah.
adhered to his skeleton.
Well, then, yeah, you'd have to have healing powers, right? Because otherwise,
Yeah, you'd have to survive.
He's just bleeding out through your knuckles.
you'd be dying every time you take the claws out.
Have you ever noticed that like the native superheroes that are out there are kind of cheesy?
Yeah.
Wait,
Like-
what are the native superheroes? I don't think I've ever.
Warpath. Warpath was one.
Have you seen that one like commercial where they're like making fun of it and they're all do something and it's like the native superhero and he's like just beating a drum and it's like like what is that
That's my
supposed to be?
superpower.
Supersonic
Or-
drum playing.
Mortal Kombat. They had. Do you remember what his name was? Mortal Kombat.
They had a native guy in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, native Mortal Kombat. They have a native guy. Circle back to me.
Do you guys remember? So the Suicide Squad. You remember that movie? that
I
came out?
actually heard Jackie Chan was part Navajo.
You just
If I could
derailed
if I could have a superpower, it'd be to be Jackie Chan.
to beat him or be checked.
No, be Jackie Chan. Nobody's talking about beating Jackie Chan.
I don't think
Can't
anybody
beat-
could beat Jackie
I don't
Chan.
think so either. That's why you'd want it to be the power.
I mean, he's a drunken boxer.
Ooh, that's a good movie.
That is a good movie.
That's a really good movie.
no, but like in the Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember how they did Adam Beach?
Slipknot.
Yeah. I was like, dude, like your superpowers is that you can tie really good knots. And he was like, I'm gonna. He was just like the token character to like show off how the like explosives in the head go off. Because he's
yeah,
like,
that was
I'm
it.
out of here, and he like starts like swinging off on a rope or something, and they're like, okay.
And then
He, like,
they
shoots-
made him wear that wig that was just like, come on, like anybody,
bad.
yeah, come on.
And his outfit, I think he's just like wearing like a noose with like a knot. It's like,
Something
oh.
like that. It was like, seriously.
Like the lamest, like the first
Super.
time we have like a native actor like in a major.
Major role, and then he dies
He
5
dies.
minutes.
seconds
Yeah,
in.
he dies first, and he's like got the.
He didn't even
stupidest
get to
powers.
kill an alien. Come on.
Didn't get to fight anything.
Anyways, yeah,
I found it. The
Oh, okay.
Mortal Kombat Native American dude. His name is Nightwolf, and I believe from what I can remember is like his power is he like prays to his ancestors. So he's like throws his hands up and he's like, "Ancestors, help me!" And he like can like spawn like tomahawks and knives and stuff in his hands. So he spawns weapons. And
Could
they're
you
like
imagine,
spiritual power?
like, if that was your power and you were like in a math test in school and you're like, ancestors help me.
Grandson, I don't know. Answer number 24 is looks like it's gonna be B. Yeah.
Grandson, always choose C. They design these tests. C is always your best choice. It's like, wait, you don't even have the actual answer. You just, I didn't call upon you for your best guess.
Oh my gosh, that still reminds me of what is it? Hot Rod.
Yeah.
Hot Rod. When
Ancestors help me.
we shall help you. And then he calls on like the spirit of the eagle, spirit of the bald eagle, spirit of the
Like the fox.
the fox, and the bald eagle, the bottlenose
Dolphin. It's like Flipper. Oh man, Hot Rod's a good movie.
Hot Rod's a good movie.
I feel like it was underappreciated in its time.
Oh, his dance sequence was awesome, and
yeah.
then it just led to like that moment when he rolls down that hill. Just kind of became iconic for him for a while.
Yeah.
That's Andy Samberg, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was like one of his first that was the first movie I think that he directed and wrote with his Lonely Island crew guys.
Do you think being funny is a superpower?
Oh,
Or would be?
Man. I wish.
Oh man, I'm really thinking this flight. I would rather be able to make people laugh than be able to fly across the country. No, I don't think comedy is a superpower.
And if that's the case, if comedy is a superpower, then like, what was it? Jerry Seinfeld, all the comedians would be superheroes.
We have heroes, guys. They're among us.
They're among us.
We have heroes. They're called comedians.
They spread joy and laughter out to the world.
They're called laugh doctors.
Doctors.
And mostly they just observe things. Like, have you guys ever noticed about peanuts, airlines, and peanuts? What's up with that?
What's the deal with airline peanuts? Cool.
Yeah, superpowers.
I don't have a lot to say on the topic of superpowers. I don't know. There's just so many that I'm like, I would rather just like, if there was a big a big wheel, you know what I mean?
Just spin it.
I'd rather just like have all of it on there, just
like
roll the dice, you know? Because it's like, I would choose flight, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, man, I wish I was teleporting. Or, oh man, I wish I was invisible. You know, it's
just
like,
always looking into somebody else's cup and being like, man, that looks cool.
yeah, there's just so many powers, you know, and it's just kind of like I don't know, I can't.
Way
choose.
to go, Stanley.
Yeah, thanks, Stanley.
Giving me too many choices.
Making too many cool powers.
It's like Spider-Man.
That's kind of cool, right? And fascinating that he had such an imagination to create these characters and have like specific powers for each of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
sure.
you know
There's
how
always
much dialogue
crossover.
that took, like in his own head, to
Yeah.
sit there and think about a backstory for each
Yeah,
person.
yeah, and then the backstories themselves for the people. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, I saw one of those viral videos that had been going around about how he came up with Spider-Man, and basically the fact that he made a conscious decision that he would be like a teenager versus like an adult, and how he had basically written the whole backstory, called him Spider-Man and everything, and his agent or whoever was in charge of him was like, I don't know, that's not a great idea. And he eventually like went through with it, and they ended up getting a great review for Spider-Man. And therefore his agent came back and was like, oh my gosh, that was such a great idea. You know, I can't believe we came up with this idea. And he's like, I came
What's
up with
this
it.
we?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: do you view Batman as a superhero?
He's a villain.
Because he just has money, right? Like
he's a
just
supervillain.
Is he a supervillain?
He's a supervillain. He's a supervillain because you think about it. Okay, I'm stealing this whole argument from what's his name? This TikToker. He's really cool. Michael the Stallion, I think his name is. And his whole thing is that Batman, he's extremely wealthy. And how did he get his wealth? By opening up a hospital. And what happens is he goes and the Joker hires a bunch of random dudes to come in and move his product, move all of his boxes and crates. They don't know what's inside the boxes and crates. They're just there and trying to move stuff. And then he jumps in, beats everyone up, and therefore collects the money from them having to go to the hospital as insurance. And so he's getting paid twice to beat up people.
Racket.
It's a big racket. He's a big racketeer. And then on top of that, he could easily take all his money and go and help people and infuse that into the infrastructure so that way he could people wouldn't have to take jobs from the Joker and Penguin and all these crazy supervillains. It's like, what kind of job market do you live in that you have to take a job from a dude wearing makeup and threatening to blow up your city? Like, come on. And in the fact that, like, okay, so if we go back to what was it, Nipples and No Nipples movie, that's the one with Mr. Ice and
Yeah, George Clooney, Batman and Robin.
yeah, Batman and
Mr.
Robin.
Freeze.
Mr. Freeze. What was it? Mr. Freeze is trying to combat global warming, and Poison Ivy is trying to increase the rainforest. Like,
Oh, yeah.
these are the things that we've been trying to do for years, and these two
Batman's
people,
like, nope.
not in my
You
town.
gotta shut that down.
And he does that, and so he ultimately is the supervillain.
Well, I could see that. Okay. You made me a believer.
I'm just upset.
I still
Batman.
like Batman though.
Yeah, he's got the cool gadgets.
Oh man, The Dark Knight. Talk about a cinema experience, man.
Well, he beats up a man with mental illness. Like, come on.
Well,
I'm trying to ruin Batman, okay?
hashtag cancel Batman.
No, don't cancel him. If you cancel him, there's nothing left for me to dislike about him. Him and Superman. Superman's overrated.
I'll give you that one. I
don't know. I'm partial to the Man of Steel.
He gets taken down by a glowing green rock. Like, that's it. Nothing else can touch him. So therefore, everyone has to come up with this kryptonite.
The Green Rock. Everybody's got a weakness.
It's his one weakness. And Lois Lane. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. No argument on
Yeah.
Man,
how sorry.
All right.
Wow.
Man, why are we bashing these superheroes that don't exist? I'm just angry.
Just angry about superheroes that don't make any sense. Peter Parker.
Peter Parker. Oh man.
Well,
All right.
that's why I'm a fan of Marvel versus DC. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like Marvel. What I like about Marvel comics is that I feel like it brings it back into a little bit more. I mean, it's still superheroes, but it's a little more based in reality.
See,
I feel like.
I never really got into like comic books like that or like superheroes like that. But when Ninja Turtles came out, oh man, that hooked me. Like karate and
Pizza.
ninjas in a half shell.
samurai swords, like that. That was so cool.
I totally feel that.
Yeah, and it was something from like it felt like it was something from overseas. So like you wanted to find out everything you could about the backstory of these 4 turtles. And you're a little kid, so you bought into it, but. Ninja Turtles, I think, was probably one of the coolest.
I don't know a whole lot about Ninja Turtles. Just
Yeah,
that
that
they
was
love
right.
pizza.
That was right in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right
Late
in
80s.
the 80s.
Late 80s.
the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles. I remember one of our cousins had I think it was on the Super Nintendo. They had like the Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. That
And
was.
yeah. It was cool, but it was such a hard game, and we always got to a certain level, and it was just like, "All right, that's it," because we're never gonna make it past this. So let's just stop.
Well, they made the villains like super OP, overpowered. They were super overpowered, and that was the difficult thing. I mean, I feel like that, like as a kid, like growing up and trying to play video games like that. I mean, what was it? We had The Lion King. Do you remember playing that?
That was a cool game.
That
On
was a
the,
cool game.
Sega.
Yeah.
But it was
The handheld.
ridiculously hard to get
Yeah.
past like certain, like what was it? The
It was almost
elephants?
unwinnable.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was funny because back then there was no like saving your game really. You know what I mean? It
Oh,
was
you
like,
had to be perfect
if you
the whole way
died,
through.
it took you all the way back to level 1. It was like, oh man, I got to level 2. I was about to jump on the ostrich and I missed it, and that was my last life. And now it's like,
Like start over, kid.
yeah. Whereas like today, kids are like, oh man, like I'm about to fight this boss. Let me just go ahead and save it, and then when
Or
I
you can
eventually
look it up
die-
on the internet and figure out how
figure
to.
out exactly how to do it.
No, you had to go to your older brother or your dad and hope that they're better at video games than you are.
That's funny. I remember. So we had a Super Nintendo, and was going to a cousin's house, and I was trying to get it like, we were gonna play it, and I was like trying to get it hooked up to the TV, and I was just like a little kid, and I remember his dad, my uncle was like, he could like. I was like, they're color coded. It's color coded. Just put it in. And for some reason, like they couldn't figure it out. And he's like, no, let's just not. Let's not do this. I don't want to blow my TV up. I was like, blow your TV up.
It's color.
I was like, the yellow goes with the yellow, the white with the white, and the red with the red. Come on. And so we didn't end up getting to play Donkey Kong.
Which is hilarious because that's like the flavor of that time is like people were like so blown away by video games and video game systems that they were like, yeah, I don't know how to handle this. And it's like, dude, you just plug in the wires and that's it. And they're like, but when I touch the TV, it makes prickly noises and I do this and I still have to turn the TV dial with the pliers, and I'm not sure if it's gonna work. And so let's not do that.
Let's just not. It's like, oh, come on. I was like a little kid, and I'm like, I could hook it up, but he wouldn't let me, And I was like, all right, I guess we won't.
He's like,
play.
Ella, if I let you touch it, it could blow.
Like what's gonna happen? You're gonna be running the run out of the house while it blows up.
Which is funny because now these people are the same people who are asking to reset their Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Oh, how times have changed. Do you guys remember like TVs back in the day, man? Oh man, like I remember we had this TV at the house. It barely had any hookups for like audio visual stuff,
Yeah.
But it was weird because it was a TV. It sat on the floor. It had like a slightly little bass, a little bass to it, but it was super heavy, and it had like faux wood paneling on the outside. Yeah. And it was funny because we used that TV, and eventually it just like started to kind of like it would go like fuzzy screen.
It would groan on you. Go, oh.
Yeah, you'd get like the snow would come in, and some lines would come through as you were watching like TV. And like we figured out after a while, you had to come up to the side of it and give it a good boom, smack it, and it would like come back in perfect. And all right, but it got to a point where it was like every 2 minutes you were up there banging on the side of the TV, and like we weren't gonna like open it up because I was just a kid, like you didn't see what the problem was, but it was like okay, well this works. And then eventually that eventually became my TV in my room. And it took up a good portion. My room was tiny, but it took up a good portion. and
just
it
hear banging coming from your room.
Yeah, it was just like boom, you know. And I don't know. It's kind of like have you ever heard that like phrase where people are like, at some point when you were a kid, you went outside to play with your friends for the last time? Yeah, have you ever heard of that? It's like, oh, it's just being nostalgic. No. That's how I was. I didn't realize there would be that last time when I would hit the TV. It just wouldn't ever come back again. It was over.
You know what's bad? Is the other day, so we had a Samsung TV, and like half the screen like went out on us. And like my first instinct wasn't to like look it up on YouTube and see if there's something I could fix or something. I just walked up to it and I started smacking the side of it. Like that was gonna work. Like LEDs, come on, work. Recalibrate. Oh, was it violent recalibration? Is how you fix things.
Man, yeah. Kids today will never know that struggle of having electronics where you had to just like bang the heck out of it to get it to work
or blow on it.
Oh yeah, cleaning out
Nintendo.
your
Nintendo cartridges.
Man, you guys still have your Nintendo, right?
Yeah,
that's cool.
From the 80s, man.
I sold my Super Nintendo. I mean, it was a newer one, but I sold it when I was like really young, at a garage sale, and my parents.
The only reason why that thing lasted was because like we were by no means people of means, right? And so we ended up getting it after like Nintendo, the craze had already gone on, and there was like Super Nintendo, right?
Yeah.
So nobody wanted the original one, and so like we went in one day and we just saw it, and we were like, hey, we bought it, and that's how we ended up with it.
Well, like during that time, like you bought something, you took care of it in a way of like, like reverence. Like, all right, let's go ahead and take it.
Like, I remember the days before no Nintendo.
So man, I still do that with all my stuff.
The buttons so soft.
Yeah. I do that with all my stuff. Like, I keep my like original boxes that stuff comes in because I'm like, okay, when I'm not going to use it, I just put it back in the box that was made for it, and it's not going to like, you know, like you just, and I think it's just out of necessity because you're like, if I break this, I know there's not going to be another one. You know what I mean? Like, I got to really take care of this thing.
Well, this is how bad it is. Like, I remember back, like maybe 5 years ago, it was around the time when I finally decided that like it was okay to remove the original plastic that comes on your, like on your phone, like it comes out of the box, and you're like, I'm going to leave that plastic on there because it's going to protect it from something. And then you leave it on there for a long time. I finally broke myself of that habit and I started taking them off. Yeah.
It's funny when you do that and like everything else that wasn't covered gets worn and then you go to peel it off and it's like really nice and clean. It's like you definitely tell where the plastic was protecting it the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, my kids were laughing at me because I bought a new basketball and I was like, we can't play with this one outside. This one is indoor. Like, indoor basketball. Oh, Dad, come on.
Yeah, it's funny, right?
Like I made him play with the old nasty, like smooth, like sun bleached one.
There's no grip on it or anything. You guys have fun with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. At some point, you're kind of like, man, I guess I bought this for a reason. I should probably use it.
Yeah.
It's hard to break yourself of those habits, though.
Those are tough habits to break. It's like our grandparents having the depression mode.
Yeah, the Great Depression mode. We like have like a PTSD of being poor.
And it's weird, right? Because like you're not a kid, you have your own money, and you're like, I could just. It's a basketball. I could buy another one for $20, but you're like, no, we gotta take care of it. I don't want to go out and scuff this up. We're just gonna hold on to this for a little bit. Oh man,
walking around with tissue boxes on my feet.
The little feet booties. Oh man, cool.
All right.
Well, that was good. That was a good discussion, guys.
I always enjoy talking with you guys.
And guys, remember, now that we're coming to the end of the show right now, just remember, if you have any questions, you want to weigh in on any of the topics that we had today, you can DM us at Off the Reservation Podcast. And thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, and remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Subscribe to us.
Subscribe.
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 Hip hop.
Hip hop, you don't stop. Catch you guys next week.
Hip Hop Anonymous.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. Make sure you stick around for a preview of next week's episode.
Like you guys talking about cassettes, it kind of takes me back to like one of my first hustles when I was a kid was like, you know how like our dad ran all the church equipment, the sound equipment. I would tell kids like, all right, $5, bring me your own tape. I'll dub any tape for you. Cause like he had one of those fast dubbers. And so they would give me a tape and like their money. And then I would go to church on like Wednesday night or whatever. And I'd sit there and like dub that whole tape for them or whatever they wanted.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh man,
like 10 years old.
Had like a stack of tapes and like a big old wad of cash just from like bootleg Jay-Z albums.
Oh, hey, it's time to go. You're like, give me a minute here. Right? I'm working.